Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. It is the last video of the year again. Another year has gone by, and I have a lot of things to look back on, both both personally, or when it comes to behind the scenes private stuff, as well as when it comes to what I've been showing you. I have to say it's not been the best year I've had on a personal, or should I say, uh, generally professional level for reasons I won't get into now. But when it comes to the books I've read, I can't really find a lot to a lot of things to complain about because um, I actually had the plenty of book reviews out this year. Probably probably more than in other years. I haven't really been able to cross check. And of these books that I've read, most of them were, or almost, I almost want to say I almost want to say most of them, but that's not entirely true. About half were 4 stars or higher. So that's that. So even though, even though I have issues elsewhere, the the books I've been able to to get my hands on and read through haven't really been one of them. They have been they have on the contrary been a highlight, which in some ways makes means that making this video was or making this countdown was a little bit harder than it would have been in than it would have been in other years, because let me just say there have been because of the number of books that I've been able to give high ratings this year, it is arguably more of an achievement to make the honorable mentions of this year's list than it would have been to make the main list of other years. So yeah, even though the top three of this year isn't really among the stronger top threes that I've talked about so far, the list as it stands is probably is probably among the strongest lists that I've been able to put together since I've been since I've been doing these countdowns. And uh, and for this video, I thought I would I thought I would show them to you, show you the best books that I've read over the course of 2025. Starting with the honorable mentions, first up of which is Saints of Storm and Sorrow by Gabriela Buba. Uh, this was a this was actually a very surprising high quality read. While I was while I was a little bit disappointed with the way the characterization was put together, everything else a lot about this book clicked. The way the way the plot unfolded, given its given its external circumstances, the way the world building developed, how she was able to construct the social framing within which this story takes place. It is very interesting and very much ignites my curiosity to see what comes next. So yeah, this is the first book in the series. I've forgotten the name of the series, but I can say that I'll be looking forward to what else Ms. Bubo will be putting out. Next up on the honorable mentions, we have Thrawn Treason, the third and final book of the new uh, Thrawn trilogy. Or okay, it's not the new Thrawn trilogy. The first trilogy was Heir to the Empire. Not my books, but a completely but a completely different set of books. This one is this current trilogy, following its titular character, is not actually the newest trilogy, but it is one that brought him that brought him back into the uh, or maybe not brought him back, brought him folded him officially into the Disney Star Wars canon. And I have to say it has been very interesting to look through and see how this book was able to effectively integrate all of the various world building elements and plot points that the rest of the series has been able to piece together. and even though it kind of ends on a not necessarily a cliffhanger, but something of a but somewhat a loose ending where uh, where there aren't really a lot of interesting conclusions or broader analyses that one can draw upon. It was still a very interesting read, and it is for this reason that it's made the honorable mentions. And last but not least, in the honorable mentions, we have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, the second oldest book I've ever read for this channel. Unfortunately, doesn't crack the top 10. That comes primarily through me, by me being a communist. I will say that, and noticing the cracks that emerge uh, within this within this book once you apply it some broader level of social analysis to it. It is still interesting from a historical perspective, but but if anyone who uses this as a self-help book, yeah, you're not going to get I'm afraid you're not going to get much out of it, or you're not going to get much that will be directly interesting. What is most directly interesting about it is, are its approaches or its insights into philosophy, particularly the philosophy of its day, and and a lot of the biographical additions that one can gain from it, if the book is adequately annotated. Still it is a very rewarding and very stimulating read. One that I can very much say stands the test of time, even if it's not among the even if it's not among the best I've read this year. So if this isn't among the best isn't really in the higher echelons of the best I've read this year, what is? Let's see. Going into the top 10 proper, we have at number 10 A Cinder of Roses and Steel by Ginevra Mancinelli. Yeah, after having first taken a dip into Ginevra Mancinelli's biography back in 2022, this year, or at the beginning of this year, I decided I would I would go deeper and go through her entire biography. And the second book of her, A Halo of Talons and Tears series, which coincidentally is also the last book that she wrote before, apparently, or the last book chronologically that she wrote. I think it's fair to say has been the best. The world of A Halo of Talons and Tears uh, is very intriguing, very intricate, very expansive, but she is very adept at knowing how to find the figures of influence within the setting, and understanding what it is about them that makes them stand out as people. How it is that they think, how it is that they are exceptional within the setting, and how that manifests uh, within the broader society. And this book in particular is very noteworthy for how it manages to utilize what the previous book set in motion, and therefore, even though an argument could be made for for how it doesn't really establish anything, it just takes what's already been done um, and simply runs with it. The way in which she runs with it is still very interesting to follow through and very captivating, and it is enough to grant this book a place in my top 10. At number 9, we have Heart of the Storm, book 4 of the Demon Storm series by Valerie Storm. This year, for better or for worse, has been the year of the Demon Storm series, and and I have to say, unfortunately, only two of its books really made it. Really managed to make it make a strong impression on me, to the point where they had to the point where they had high ratings, so 4 out of 5 or higher. And and this book in particular was very interesting to see how how Valerie would play around with the established elements of her setting, and the ways in which she not only presents the reveals but also how she explores the ramifications they have, and how that and how that pans out within the broader within the broader story makes makes this one of the best books in the series, and definitely among the more memorable of them. Also helps that she arguably made one of the best villains I've been able to read in a in a long time come to life within this book. It would have been very easy to just make him just make this villain slimy and despicable for the sake of it, but but he actually has plenty of nuance, and there is plenty of um, intrigue and interest that that results from the dynamics of the conflict that he puts into place. So when looking at all of that together, I I have to I have to give credit where credit's due and put this book up at number 9. At number 8, we have Storm and Shadow, the second book of the Demon Storm series. Yeah, these these two books were pretty much neck and neck when it came time to putting this list together, because I really couldn't decide, but between one or another. Because in many ways they both have pretty similar strengths. They have a strong villain dynamic. They both show they both unfortunately show some of the issues that would plague the latter half of the series. They both delve into some interesting delve into some interesting character dynamics, and also exploration. However, what ultimately tipped the balance in the favor of Storm and Shadow was the fact that its villain was a little bit better, and also the fact that the exploration aspect of this book had arguably a little bit more space, given that it was earlier in the series, and therefore it could play around with plenty more elements. And I do very much appreciate how exactly it is that Valerie played around with the elements of this series, and how she has been able to present the conflict that has been the conflict that she intends to brew, and the villain of the story, who is very much a breakout character, instantly comes across as interesting and memorable, and the machinations that she puts in place are have been very engaging to read through, and I found myself very much very much enthralled by what it is that I've been seeing, and very interested in seeing in going through the rest of this book. And also I can very confidently say that this book, more than any other, has really ignited my curiosity towards the towards the rest of the series. Going through this book made me think, oh, this is gonna be good. The extent to which it actually was is something I've already talked about. I'm not gonna go into right now. However, for the purposes of this video, I just want to say that this book very much deserves its flowers, and very much deserves its position right here. At number 7, we have Thrawn Alliances, the second book of the previously mentioned Thrawn trilogy. One that I would argue is, a little bit better than its sequel, and also quite a bit better than the first book in the series, the one that actually names this this entire trilogy. And now, don't get me wrong, that first book is very interesting for how it manages to introduce and build upon its build up its titular character, making him an intriguing figure, and not just a Gary Stew. But this book is the first one that really delves into the that I would say really delves into the dynamics of his of the society within which he has within which he has tethered himself, so to speak. And it manages to do so by exploring two distinctive missions that take place in around the same part of the setting, and even with the same partner, except uh, 2 decades apart, more or less. So you have a past storyline where Thrawn interacts with Anakin Skywalker in order to get him to in order to help him fulfill his mission, and then you have a present timeline where you have Thrawn teaming up with Darth Vader um, in order to pursue a different kind of menace towards a different kind of society. And the contrast between how Thrawn interacts with Anakin and how Thrawn interacts with Vader is very interesting to behold, and forms a very captivating read. All things considered, the plotting in and of itself, for both storylines, is very interesting to follow, and very much digs into the specifics and externalities and grittiness that the Star Wars IP is capable of pulling out. However, it is really the character work that makes the decisive difference here, and that really helps elevate this book beyond its beyond the rest of its trilogy. And it is for that reason that I am placing this book at number 7. At number 6, Eris Vidarda by Timur Vernes, also translated as Look Who's Back or He's Here Again. This satirical novel about the potential return to the modern times of history's most notorious dictator is dictator manages to represent a very intriguing, very intriguing and very immersive presentation into the mind of a mass murderer, as he is confronted with a lot of the adjustments or changes that would have come into being since his departure, and all of these changes and alterations, seeing how, and more importantly, following him through through the exploration of these changes and how he connects to them, how he approaches them, how he approaches various other figures in both entertainment and politics, all of which have an effect of both humor and dread. And Timur is capable of balancing these two to perfection. Like, it is very much an art form with him, and there is a lot of nuance and a lot of depth in what is in what is otherwise a very in what is otherwise a quite simple premise, and the absolute mastery that is necessary in order to bring a book like this to life really helps elevate it, but not all the way into the top half of the list. Instead, that top half is opened by my actual number 5, The Devil's Bridge by Radu Paraschivescu. I've already described it as Glass Onion as a book, and I think it is fair to say that I stand by it, because while it is supposedly a murder mystery, the actual mystery plot is one of the smaller aspects of it, and the story is a bit more interesting through the fact through its exploration of character, and through the ways in which it sets the setting, and the ways in which it plays with the written word. I've already said that there are like 5 characters whose names are palindromes of each other. Not palindromes, anagrams. There are 5 characters whose names are anagrams of each other. So and really that level of playfulness is also found in other aspects of the book as well. Its its presentation, its plotting, its characterization, everyone everyone stands out, and everything about the way the book is put together makes it a more makes it a more memorable and more uh, interesting reading experience. Also, given how much I've given how many books I've read in the Romanian language or about Romania this year, which is not a lot, but still more than in other years, it was only inevitable that one of them would also receive some level of higher recognition. And I can very safely say that this book very much deserves its level of higher recognition. Moving on, at number 4, we have The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I've read a lot of nonfiction this year, and surprise, surprise, plenty of it was actually quite good. In particular, Kelly Bishop's memoir, which I found to be very immersive and very interesting to and very engaging to explore. Seeing how candid she has been with her experiences, uh, her joys, her triumphs, but also her heartbreaks and her disappointments. All of these contribute to all of these contribute to the tapestry of her life. And she also has plenty of uh, grace and grace and livery, so to speak, in order to in order to showcase even the more absurd or unusual events that that occurred throughout her life, and making them come across as entertaining or enlightening. She very much knows how to relate to the environment around her, and she has a very strong, very relatable, relatable understanding that allows her to that allows an audience to connect to everything that she is to everything that she has experienced, and everything that makes her career, or or even broader than that, her life come across as an interesting and engaging story. So for that reason, this particular memoir makes it all the way up to number 4. It would have been uh, poetic justice or somewhat funny if it made it to number 3, but alas, that is not the case. Instead, the podium is opened by my actual number 3 and bronze medalist, Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor by Shiran Jaishao. It's somewhat funny. Iron Widow, which also happened to be a number 1 New York Times bestseller, uh, didn't make the top 3 of its year, but Zachary Ying did. Zachary Ying did. Still, that top 3 of that year was absolutely stacked. So in a head-to-head comparison, I think it is fair to say that Iron Widow uh, may still win out, but in spite of that, but even so, Zachary Ying is an uh, outstanding book, especially when considering that especially when considering the sense of humor this author has, or really the style which they implement within this book. Iron Widow, for example, somewhat notoriously had a first draft that was very much adults only, and that then had to be heavily toned down in order to be YA. So the fact that that author not only wrote middle grade but also wrote good middle grade is very impressive. And when you look at the themes that this middle grade book actually explores, when it comes to when it comes to being uprooted from your culture, when it comes to what it means to explore the when it means to explore your setting, to find your people, to and to reconnect in that sense with that particular part of yourself. It becomes all the more impressive that they were able to put this book together and have it be this engaging and this thrilling and this captivating, both in terms of the action sequences, which they are actually capable of presenting in a very interesting, very distinct way that very much speaks to their um, inspirations and interests and backgrounds, but also that manages to very deliberately and very thoughtfully take into account uh, a background that may not be familiar to most of their readership, and still present it as captivating and engaging, is uh, makes this book very much an outstanding piece of fiction, and very exciting to very exciting to read through and explore, regardless of what your age is. So, for that reason, Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor makes it to the podium of this year at number 3. At number 2, the silver medal goes to Reflections of Lilia Damselfly by Natalie Kelda. The shortest book I've read this year, but holy hell, is there a lot into it. This book is purple prose done right and slice of life done right. It is very, very effective at at presenting this presenting its more outlandish titular character, Lilia Damselfly, and showcasing how it is that she experiences the world, how it is that she relates to it and connects to it, showcasing the showcasing the state of nature and the state of broader society within it, and showcasing and arguably slowly showcasing that these aspects as they develop as well, and how they impact the world. It is it is fascinating. It is engrossing. It is sweet at times, but there are also so many hidden depths, so much, and there is so much potential and fascination that can be gleaned from how this from how this book is put together, that I really have to commend Natalie for the for the work that she has been able to put into this book, especially when you consider that she is actually an English as a second language writer. So yeah, she does a lot of things right, and this book pretty much has a lot of good aspects about it. It is very deserving of a very high spot within this list, but not the top spot on this list. That honor instead goes to, as some of you may have already figured out, the number one, the gold medal for this year, or rather, it's the gold medal winner for this year, is Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between, by Lauren Graham. Yeah, surprise, surprise, the only 5 out of 5 is number one. Also, by the way, Ms. Graham, congratulations. You are in the very select company of being, of being the second author to write the only 5 out of 5 star within a given calendar year that I've read and reviewed. The only other member of that club is actually a Nobel Prize for Literature winner. You'll have to check the 2023 list for more details. Anyway, I'm done talking to the author herself. Now I want to talk about her book. It's a memoir, not the first memoir on this list. And however, I have to say that I personally find it quite a bit more engaging. It helps that Lauren herself is actually has perhaps a little bit more experience experience when it comes to writing, and therefore she has a little bit more skill when it comes to presenting events, and especially when it comes to presenting the events of her life as well. She has a very open, very bombastic style of talking and presenting. However, within her bombast, she doesn't just do self-aggrandizement or repetition. She is very playful with the language that she uses and with the elements that she integrates within the within all of her uh, within uh, all of her talking, all of her connections, all of her interactions, which means that you never know what to expect, but you're almost always guaranteed to have something uh, very interesting, very interesting run before you. So in terms of presentation, this book is very much without peer in terms of how in terms of the previous in terms of other books that I've read this year. When you look at when you look at how she puts the narrative of her life together, how it is that she presents her own developments, you'll see that she does a great job at that as well. She is not afraid to make herself to make herself look like the fool. She is not afraid to um, she's not afraid to go broad, go deep, go controversial. She is always she's always herself, and she always knows exactly what it is that she wants to emphasize and exactly how it is that she wants to emphasize all those points. And through this exploration, she is uniquely capable of granting her audience distinct and very memorable, very resonant moments of catharsis that managed to that very much managed to bypass my cynicism and come across as very strong and very heartfelt, and very exciting to read through. I actually got a little misty-eyed when I when I reached that point. And the only other book that came even close to getting me misty-eyed was this list number two. So I have to say, well done, Miss Graham. You've been very effective at tugging at my heartstrings. When you combine that with all the other things that that she has been very effective at in terms of in terms of how it is that she in terms of what it is that she wants to present, in terms of how it is that she wants to present it, and in terms how how rich and how detailed and how immersive her presentation is, there really was no other choice than except for making this book the the number one of this year. So yeah, for that reason, Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Lauren Graham is the best book I've read in 2025. The best book I've read and given a video review of, to be more specific. There are, yeah, there are other books that don't fit that don't fit that, but I won't go too deep into, these classification distinctions because you're not here for that. You're here for the list, and well, I'm pretty much done with it. That was the list, so thank you very much for your attention. If you've enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add to any of the books I've mentioned or to potentially their placement, well, that is what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, not the one I mentioned previously, the one I personally wrote, and these books are The Next Generation and The Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. I also have a second channel where you can hear me talk about whatever else crosses my mind. That'll typically still be related to narrative analyses, but of works outside of the print medium. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check it out. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and selected works therein, well, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog of book reviews, retrospectives, writing advice, rewriting or re-editing videos, and miscellaneous connected topics, if that is of interest to you. after all, it is after all we're on the holidays right now, so and so it's likely you will find the time if you are if you are interested. Um, and if you're not, if nothing I said about my YouTube channel is of interest to you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it for me. Uh, until next time, I've been Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair. By the way, Happy New Year.